that team's just got assassins on that team. Like they're really Wemby's an assassin. Castle, Harper, these guys just have absolutely no fear. So, you know what? Let's talk about the next. Let's talk about the look ahead, Jesse. You called this one. Let's just get right into NBA. What are we looking for in Game 4? New York, ever so slight favorite, over under 216.5, or do we just? I mean, I put in our Discord that the Spurs first quarter just is putting kids through college at this point. So I don't know if you're just going right back to that one or what your breakdown on this game.
Yeah, I like those first quarter bets coming off of a loss. So I'd almost be more inclined to take the Knicks for the first quarter, but that's not what I'm looking at. I like Spurs futures. I just think first of all, the first two games of this series were not blowouts. It's not like New York had completely outclassed the Spurs. And I think that's the way it was being represented heading into Game 3. It's over. They're up 2-0. This is all just a formality. I just didn't see it that way. It was two close games. It could have gone either way. The Spurs could have easily been up 2-0 heading back to New York. That said, prior to Game 3, I said I expected the referees to heavily lean Spurs in the game because we know the NBA, one thing they don't want is a short series. We were talking about ticket prices before we went live here, and ticket prices for Game 6 are going to be through the roof. They want to make sure there's going to be a Game 6 back in New York. So I was not surprised. And Mike Brown said after the game in the post-game presser, I never thought I would see the day of such a disparity in the NBA Finals. So by his comments, we now know that Mike Brown does not watch the NBA playoffs. He doesn't have any social media accounts. He did not watch the Western Conference Finals. He didn't watch the Eastern Conference semifinals, because I will point out to Mike Brown that Oklahoma City had 28 second-half free throw attempts in Game 4 of last year's NBA Finals, and I know that because I was on Indiana with 11-1 odds to win Game 1 and win the series, and if they had a won Game 4, I would have cashed that ticket. And Scott Foster came in, and we saw what we saw, which is what we expect to see these days. If you watch the NBA, if you know your NBA, you know the equalizer, you know the extender. People will say I'm crazy, but crazy like a fox is what I say. Eastern Conference semifinals this year, the Cavaliers had an edge in the series of free throws, 244 to 157. That's an average margin of almost 12.5 free throw disparity per game in a 7-game series. So for Mike Brown to be complaining about the minimal disparity in Game 3, I think he's lost the plot. But I don't expect to see the refs tilt heavily for San Antonio in Game 4. It's going to be I expect to see another close game. You got to love Wemby, 32 points, 11 of 18 from the field, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. I would have liked to have seen more than 8 rebounds, but as you guys were saying, this young team appears to be playing beyond their years. And heading into Game 3, people were saying they're a year or two away. Well, did you watch Game 7 of the Western Conference Final? Have you watched them throughout? Did you see them in Game 3 on the road in Madison Square Garden? I wouldn't step in front of this team. I think grab yourself some Spurs futures while you're still getting the big plus money. That's my opinion for the rest of this series.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. I stick to player props, but I'm fascinated by this Spurs team. I can't believe these young guys.
One more thing. The Knicks won 13 straight games, right? They had that roll, and you got to wonder, after a 13-game winning streak ends, what happens? Is it like the clock strikes midnight, the carriage turns into a pumpkin? I think that's a serious question that Knicks fans should worry about. At the end of the day, they were shooting over 50% from the field, over 40% from beyond the arc in this entire playoffs. That's just not sustainable. We know it's not sustainable. We know that in the regular season, they shot, 47.8%. They were 11th in field goal percentage. They were 4th in three-point percentage. But to expect them to outperform their regular season numbers in the playoffs, where it's harder to get those looks, that just can't last forever. And now that it's come to a grinding halt, you're just going to turn the tap back on. It's just not that easy sometimes.
Jesse, what do you have up for $5 Tuesday? Then I want to bring in Dan and have you guys talk a little World Cup right around the corner.
Sounds good. Well, my play for $5 Tuesday is going to be very familiar if you tuned into Wager Talk today, because it's a play on the hockey game. So yeah, and you can feel free to guess as to what it might be. It might be the same play I just gave out on the show.
I like it. Just they can guess, but
you might be able to save yourself $5.
But if they want to be sure and not read the subtext, they can grab it for $5 over at Jesse's page, WT.buzz/.
I mean, you'd feel awful stupid if you didn't pay the $5 and found out it wasn't.
That's a good point. I mean, all joking aside, whether you want to take advantage of that $5 play, which the astute listeners already know here, there's great other deals that you can grab over at Jesse's page. You can get action set you up as football's taking off. Jesse's in action in all kinds of leagues